The void of space is a place where time seems to stretch into infinity, where silence isn't just the absence of sound, but the absence of anything familiar. And yet, into this darkness, we once flung a fragile machine made of wires, memory, and hope. It was 1977 when Voyager 1 slipped the bonds of Earth, a speck of silver in the endless black, carrying our dreams farther than any human hand had ever reached. We built it to last 5 years. It has endured nearly 50. And now, when most believed its light was fading, Voyager 1 has done something no one expected. In the emptiness between the stars, it has made what some are calling an impossible encounter, a transmission unlike any before, a shift in behavior without explanation. What happened out there billions of miles from home defies what we know of machines. And the question haunting NASA isn't just technical, it's existential. Has something interfered? To understand why this moment is extraordinary, we need to remember just how improbable Voyager's journey has been. It was born not out of luxury, but necessity, crafted with the urgency of a once-in-a-lifetime planetary alignment. In the late 1960s, a young engineer named Gary Flandreau noticed something extraordinary. In the 1980s, the outer planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, would align in a way that wouldn't happen again for 176 years. If a spacecraft could be launched at just the right time, it could use the gravity of one planet to slingshot to the next, saving decades of fuel and time. NASA called it the Grand Tour. Humanity would call it Voyager. Launched on September 5th, 1977, Voyager 1 was part of a pair, twin emissaries flung into the solar system. It raced past Jupiter, then Saturn, snapping photographs that redefined our understanding of these gas giants. It showed us rings we never knew existed, moons that glowed with volcanic fire, magnetic fields that danced and roared. But when its planetary mission ended, Voyager did not stop. It simply kept going. By 1998, it had overtaken Pioneer 10 as the farthest human-made object from Earth. By 2006, it had crossed 9 billion miles. And today, Voyager 1 is more than 15 billion miles from home, deeper into the cosmic sea than anything we've ever imagined, and somehow still talking. The very idea that this machine, built with 1970s technology, still whispers back to us is astonishing. There is no repairman in deep space, no reboot switch, no replacement parts. Voyager has endured decades of radiation, micrometeorites, and unimaginable cold. And yet, it speaks. It speaks through a 12-foot antenna, locked in place and forever reaching for Earth. It speaks through NASA's Deep Space Network, an intricate web of antennas so sensitive they can detect a signal as faint as the rustle of a butterfly's wings from billions of miles away. It speaks in data streams of zeros and ones, each bit a message from the dark. But in 2022, those messages changed. At first, it was subtle, anomalies, repetitive data, patterns that didn't make sense. The information Voyager was sending back wasn't just strange, it was impossible. The kind of data that seemed to come from a machine behaving in ways no one programmed it to. NASA's engineers were puzzled. They checked the systems, recalibrated, cross-referenced. Still, the patterns persisted. Bits and bytes formed loops that echoed as if repeating themselves. A sort of digital stutter, zeros and ones caught in a trance. Then, something even more disturbing. It appeared Voyager 1 had started routing data to a computer that hadn't functioned in decades. That shouldn't be possible. This wasn't just a malfunction. It was as if the spacecraft had made a decision, without a command, without prompting, on its own. The first suspicion was a glitch, an error in the attitude control system, the part of the probe that keeps its antenna aimed at Earth. Perhaps the data was corrupted in transit. But as the months passed, the mystery deepened. Because what should have triggered an alert, what should have caused the spacecraft's error protocols to react, never did. It was quiet, calm, purposeful. Even after engineers traced the problem and sent new instructions to reroute the data back through the correct systems, the question remained, why did Voyager switch pathways in the first place? And here is where the impossible encounter begins, not with blinking lights or alien messages, but with silence. The kind of silence that makes people nervous, because there was no malfunction alert, no system failure report, just a shift. Smooth, deliberate, as if Voyager 1 had sensed something, as if something, or someone, was listening. NASA has never officially endorsed theories of extraterrestrial interference, but they have not dismissed the idea entirely either. After all, Voyager carries with it the infamous Golden Record, a time capsule etched in copper and gold, bearing the sounds of Earth, greetings in dozens of languages. A child's laughter, music, the heartbeat of a woman. It was meant to say, this is who we are. This is where we live. And it was meant, just possibly, for someone else. When Voyager began transmitting strange signals, speculation exploded. The Allen Telescope Array, one of the world's leading instruments in the search for alien life, turned its dishes toward Voyager's signals and confirmed something was off. They recorded 15 minutes of data. What they found, they didn't fully explain. Was it just corrupted code from a dying machine, or something far more extraordinary? NASA eventually pinpointed the source of the issue. An internal system had begun routing telemetry through a dead path. But that only answered how it happened, not why. And certainly not what came before, because there's something Voyager encountered after crossing the heliosphere, a boundary where our sun's influence ends and interstellar space begins, that no probe had ever touched before. On August 25th, 2012, Voyager 1 crossed that boundary and entered the unknown, beyond the reach of solar winds, beyond the bubble that shields us, and into a realm filled with matter, energy, and possibility that no human eyes had ever seen. The data it sent back from that moment was like hearing a voice echo from another dimension. Magnetic fields twisting in unexpected ways, particles streaming in patterns we still don't fully understand. And then came the silence, a long, unbroken hush, as if something in that void had noticed Voyager, as if it had paused, listened, waited, and then changed something. Voyager 1 may be alone, or it may not be. But the truth is, we don't know what it's brushing up against out there, what unseen forces might reach back. All we know is that it's still moving, still watching, still listening, and still sending something back, something impossible. Long after the last applause faded, after the engineers who built it retired, and even after the computers that first listened to its voice were torn down and scrapped, Voyager 1 kept going. It drifted past everything we know and kept its face turned to Earth like a loyal messenger carrying a secret too important to forget. No spacecraft had ever entered this kind of space before. No machine had crossed so far into the darkness and still remained tethered, by a thread of signal, by human memory, to the place where it began. But the deeper Voyager traveled, the stranger its surroundings became. Outside the heliosphere, in interstellar space, the environment is alien even to scientists. There are no familiar planetary magnetic fields, no predictable radiation belts, no cozy rhythm of orbit or gravity. Out here, the only law is chaos. The only guidance comes from the distant hum of stars and the soft winds of cosmic rays. And Voyager 1? It's not just observing this realm, it's immersed in it. Alone. As it traveled farther, its instruments began detecting patterns that defied expectations. Readings of plasma waves rising like ocean tides, magnetic fields bending in unpredictable directions, and occasional bursts of high-energy particles, all whispering of phenomena no human being had ever measured firsthand. It was like trying to make sense of a new language, one spoken by the stars themselves. And then, as if in response to some unseen signal, Voyager did the unthinkable. The anomaly with its flight data system, the mysterious rerouting of information, the corrupted code, the lack of error signals, was troubling enough. But what came next made scientists sit up in disbelief. New data arrived, subtle, unusual, and deeply perplexing, as if Voyager had adjusted its systems to communicate something new, something that didn't match any known telemetry output. In a lab at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, engineers and mission controllers watched the screens in silence. The data didn't match the usual format. It wasn't noise exactly, but it wasn't clear telemetry either. Just enough structure to suggest intent, but not enough to be understood. Some called it a hiccup, others called it a message. The golden record had been designed for others to decode. Alien civilizations, perhaps, one day stumbling upon this strange craft and wondering who we were. But now it was Voyager itself that seemed to be broadcasting a riddle. The same spacecraft we sent out to speak on our behalf now spoke back. But in whose language? NASA, known for its caution, released only limited details to the public. They confirmed a technical issue? Yes. A miscommunication between the attitude control system and an inactive computer? Yes. But beyond the hardware diagnosis, the rest was unanswered. Some of the world's most powerful minds pored over the data, looking for patterns, signals, even hidden sequences. Nothing conclusive emerged, yet the sense of unease only grew stronger, because there was something else. Something Voyager 1 had quietly done since crossing into interstellar space, something no other spacecraft had the chance to do. It began listening. One of Voyager's instruments, a plasma wave detector, started picking up faint murmurs from the void. These weren't the clear electromagnetic waves produced by our sun or the echoes of Earth's transmissions. These were slow, rhythmic pulses, like sonar from the belly of the ocean. Scientists charted the patterns. They didn't resemble anything from cosmic rays or known stellar sources, and yet they repeated, days apart, as if part of a cycle, as if far away in the dark something pulsed. When these pulses coincided with the odd signal glitch, more eyebrows were raised. When they returned, again and again, each one slightly altered from the last. Like variations in a phrase, it felt almost intentional, like Voyager had tuned in to something out there, something alive. Skeptics were quick to suggest alternative explanations: magnetic anomalies, plasma turbulence, residual solar influence. But even they admitted the timing was curious. Something had happened, some encounter, some interference, that had nudged Voyager into an unexpected configuration, and somehow it had done it without tripping a single alarm. And that was terrifying. You see, Voyager was built with redundancies. Its systems were designed to detect and correct errors. It was built to survive radiation storms, to respond to data corruption, to reset itself if commands failed. Yet this time, it hadn't done any of that. There was no warning, just a quiet rerouting of information to a long dead computer path, followed by data that didn't match anything Voyager had sent before, as though it had been touched, subtly, deliberately. Some researchers began to whisper about the impossible. Could an external force have manipulated the probe? Could it have been triggered by something Voyager passed through, some unknown interstellar phenomenon, a relic of ancient starlight, or a field of exotic particles? Or could someone have heard the golden record? That idea chilled even the most rational minds. Because if Voyager had encountered something, a structure, a signal, a consciousness, then we are no longer alone in the most literal sense. And the first true contact, the first alien handshake, has happened in silence, in darkness, with a machine built by us and forgotten by most. Voyager 1 continues to operate, barely. Its systems are aging, its plutonium power source slowly decaying. Every year, it loses about 4 watts of power. One by one, its instruments have been shut off. A necessary sacrifice to preserve the heart of the mission: communication. The magnetometers still work. The plasma instruments still listen. The radio still speaks. But for how much longer? NASA estimates 5 years, perhaps 10, before the signal goes silent. After that, Voyager will still drift into the Oort cloud and beyond, into the cold womb of interstellar space, where no light shines and gravity itself fades into whispers. In 40,000 years, it may pass near another star. In 70,000, perhaps another. For the rest of eternity, it will carry our story, unless someone else finds it first. So now we are left watching, waiting. Not just for another anomaly or another strange signal, but for something more. For a pattern that completes itself. For a whisper that becomes a word. For a moment when the darkness replies. Voyager has always been more than a spacecraft. It is a message in a bottle thrown into a cosmic ocean. And now, it seems the ocean may have thrown something back. We live in a world of instant connection, of satellites and smartphones and seamless access to information that makes even the most incredible seem ordinary. But Voyager 1 is a relic from a different time, a machine born in the analog age, drifting alone through a cosmos we still barely understand. Its instruments are aging. Its heart beats slower every year. And yet, in its fragile persistence, Voyager reminds us that wonder is not something you find on a screen. It's something you chase into the unknown and wait patiently to hear back. Its signal, now so faint that it takes the largest dishes on Earth to catch it, still whispers home. A signal that once delivered stunning images of Jupiter's raging storms and Saturn's icy rings now carries only raw data: magnetic fields, cosmic rays, plasma waves, measurements. Yes, but also fragments of a mystery we're still piecing together. And the latest fragments? They've left the world speechless. You see, in the wake of the strange rerouting of its telemetry, Voyager's instruments began behaving with quiet urgency. Subtle variations in readings, strange dips in cosmic ray counts, pulses in interstellar magnetic fields that shouldn't exist in the regions it's currently traversing. They seem almost like echoes, like Voyager is passing through the fading aftershocks of something vast and invisible. These aren't just anomalies, they are patterns, rhythmic, pulsing, and slowly evolving, as though Voyager is being led. To where? No one knows. The region Voyager 1 now approaches is more theory than fact. Beyond the heliosphere lies the Oort cloud, a vast shell of icy objects believed to surround our solar system like a ghostly halo. We've never seen it directly. It's too distant, too cold, too dark. And yet, astronomers believe it may contain trillions of comets and ancient materials left over from the birth of the sun. It's a graveyard of cosmic debris, and perhaps something more. As Voyager inches toward the outer edges of the Oort cloud, speculation grows. Could there be objects out there we've never imagined? Interstellar artifacts, natural or otherwise, cloaked by distance and silence? Could something buried in that icy shroud have awoken at the passing of a tiny human machine? Scientists remain cautious. They talk of plasma waves, solar remnants, and ancient gravity wells. But beneath the careful language there is tension, an unspoken sense that we are witnessing something that doesn't fit neatly into our equations. Voyager has done this before. It shattered our understanding of Jupiter's moons with images of volcanic eruptions on Io. It redefined Saturn, showing us its ethereal rings and strange, shepherding moons. It crossed into interstellar space when some still doubted it ever could. And now it has made another leap, not in distance, but in mystery. And what makes it all the more haunting is that Voyager doesn't have much time left. Its energy comes from plutonium, slowly decaying inside its radioisotope thermoelectric generators. These RTGs have powered the spacecraft since launch, but now their heat, once a reliable source of electricity, is fading. Every year, the systems lose about 4 watts. Instruments are shutting down one by one. Already, most of the scientific payload is offline. What remains are only the most critical: its plasma wave detector, its magnetometer, and its low-energy charged particle instruments. These are the ears and fingertips of Voyager now, listening, feeling, reaching, and even these will fall silent. NASA has projected that by 2030, perhaps sooner, the probe will no longer have the power to communicate. Its signal will fade, and Earth will lose contact. Just like that, a voice from the stars will go quiet. Not because we stopped listening, but because it had nothing left to say. Or did it? There's a growing urgency now among scientists and enthusiasts alike. What if Voyager has one more message, one more discovery? Could the final signals contain something we've overlooked? Some hidden pattern, a shift in readings, a clue to what's truly out there? Could this final stretch of its journey, this last slow spiral into the Oort cloud, be the key to understanding interstellar space? Some believe it already is, that we're only just beginning to decode what Voyager has told us, that the strange signals, the rerouted data, the rhythmic pulses, all of it is pointing to something bigger, a presence, a phenomenon, a kind of cosmic awareness we've yet to name. And if that's true, then Voyager has done far more than travel far. It has listened well. Perhaps that's the real miracle here, not the distance, not the longevity, but the idea that in building this machine, in launching it into the abyss, we created a witness, a tiny traveler unburdened by fear or time, patiently documenting a universe so vast it can barely be imagined. And what will become of it when its voice is gone? It will keep moving, silent but intact, past the reach of the sun, through the farthest limbs of the solar system, and eventually into the deep dark between stars. In about 40,000 years, it may pass within a light year of another star, Gliese 445, in the constellation Camelopardalis. It won't be close enough to see, but if there's someone there, watching with the right eyes, they might catch a glint of something unnatural, a golden disk, etched with the sounds of Earth, spinning silently across the void. That's the legacy of Voyager. Not just that it went far, but that it carried something of us into eternity. It carried our language, our laughter, our longing. It carried music and greetings and diagrams of our anatomy. And now, maybe, it carries something else. Proof that we're not alone. So as we await its final breath, as engineers wring every last watt from its fading core, we're left with a question far more powerful than any data point. What if Voyager 1 was found? What if someone, something, reached out, not in violence, but in curiosity? Not with words, but with a nudge, a rerouted signal, a quiet change, a whisper in the code. Would we recognize it? Would we know what to say in return? Perhaps we already have. Voyager's final gift may not be a photograph, or a scan, or a chart. It may be this mystery, this sense of awe. This haunting awareness that the universe may not be empty after all, that in the silence between stars, there is something else. Listening. And if that's true, if Voyager really has made an impossible encounter, then we've already taken the first step into a new chapter of existence. All we had to do was say hello, and all it took was one small machine sailing through the dark, whispering across the void, forever.